Okay, so now we've got all the projects set up, it's time to create our first scene frame. This will be the starting frame, so if we come up here, create an empty object, reset its transform, we call this scene frames. Inside that we want to create an empty game object and we call it row 1. Inside row 1 we create an empty object, we call this one camera. Okay, we drag the main camera into there and we set its default size. I'm going to go with 10. Next we want to add a virtual camera, so if we go to Cinema Machine, create virtual camera, drag that into there. Okay, on our extension we want to add a Cinema Machine confiner. So in here if we create an empty object, we'll add a polygon collider to it. Points, if we choose 4, that'll make it easier. And we've basically got to stretch this out to fit the screen bounds. Okay, can't delete that. I'm going to pause this video, I'm going to neaten this up to fit the screen bound, so I'll see you in a sec. Okay, and I'll just call that camera confiner. And then we'll add that to our virtual camera. Okay, I don't know how you want to do your transitions in Cinema Machine. I'm going to just choose create custom 0 seconds and just create that flat line. Okay, so that should be all my blending set up. Next thing we want is the tile map. So I create 2D tile map. Put that under row 1, call that tile map. Okay, and we'll duplicate that a couple of times. We want background. And we want to change the shader of the background from unlit to lit. So if we search for lit up here, sprite lit default. We change this one to ground. And this one's a platforms. Okay, we need to create a new layer for the ground layer and the platforms. And assign that to the platform and ground layer. Okay, jump onto our ground layer, go into our tile palette, And then we just want to paint in a floor. Walls and ceiling. Okay, you'll notice our tile map isn't filling the whole screen up, so let's and we want to position that okay. Let's have a quick look. That looks like that's filling that up. Okay, so that's filling that screen up nicely. We need to take out a little hole for our player to walk through. Okay, we also need to extend the floor out a couple. Okay, so what do we want on the ground? We want a tile map collider. And it's going to be used by a composite, so we'll add a composite collider, which gives us a rigid body. Set that to static, and we'll choose polygons for our outlines, because I've had trouble with the other ones with the player falling through the character. Okay, so that's the base scene set up. We won't do any platforms. If we go onto background, let me choose it. We set its ordering layer to -10. And we fill that in like that. Okay, so we're going to need to add some light into that in a minute. And on our platforms layer, we need to add a tile map collider 2D. Again, it's going to be used by a composite, so we'll add the composite collider. Set the rigid body to static, and this is going to be used by an effector, so we want to add platform effector. And then we can draw a couple of platforms in at your leisure. So I'll leave those two in. Okay, I'm going to wrap this video up now. I will see you in the next video where we continue working on the frame. So don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Join me in the Discord channel, and I will see you soon.